Okay, good day everyone. This is Keppel DC REIT's annual report 2023. Alright, this is my first time looking at Keppel DC REIT, so I'm going to go slow. Alright, we look at the distributable income for the year. Alright, it has is 167.7 million. Right, DPU is 9.38 cents. Alright, and this represents a yield of 4.81% based off the closing price of $1.95 at 31st December 2023. Alright, the time of this recording is April in 2024, so 4 months have passed and the unit price has gone down to $1.73. Right, which means that if you base off last year's dividend distribution, alright, it's actually around 5.4%. Right, however, I think this is due to the fact that there are some concerns about the China data center tenant being unable to pay rent. Alright, so it is possible that this DPU will actually drop in the year FY 2024. Alright, so we need to look out for that. Right, so the 5.4% yield for next year at least, or for this year, because this year is 2024, right, might not be sustainable. Right, in terms of leverage, they say it's healthy at 37.4%. Right, so I think I've tried to come up with some data to compare with. Right, so these are the big 6 REITs in Singapore. Right, they may not be the biggest 6 REITs, alright, but more or less these are the REITs that I like. Right, I feel they are decent REITs, and therefore I would like to compare REITs that I study henceforth against their numbers. Right, so if we look at just gearing itself, alright, we can see that of the 6 REITs, actually Keppel DC REIT does have the lowest gearing, right, at 37.4%. Right, the lowest gearing in this list is actually Ascendus, right, but Keppel DC REIT is actually lower, okay, albeit slightly. Right, and interest coverage ratio at 4.7 times is actually also the best of the 6 REITs. Right, so you can look at interest coverage ratio here. Right, the best in this case is Mapletree Industrial Trust, right, which is actually somewhat of a close relative of Keppel DC REIT, because this one is 50% data center REITs buildings as well. Alright, but they are all located in the US. So the good thing about Mapletree Industrial Trust is that at least you know that all their data centers are in the US. Alright, for Keppel DC REIT is a bit complex. They're all over the place. Right, so anyway, these two numbers are actually very good. Alright, comparing to what we would consider to be 6 relatively well managed REITs in Singapore. Alright, then we look at capital management. 74% of the loans are hedged. Alright, they have $3.7 billion worth of data centers. Very high occupancy, 98.3%. Right, long WALE and AA rating, which I think is quite good. Right, so they were listed in December 2014 as a first pure play data center REIT in Asia. Right, they have asset under management 3.7 billion. We've talked about this, and this consists of 23 data centers over 9 countries. Right, so this REIT actually reminds me a bit of Mapletree Logistics Trust, right, whereby in terms of country is all over the place lah. So you have to trust that management is doing a good job, and based on their historical track record, actually they do have a good historical track record. Right, anyway, this is about nothing much to say here. They say they have grown from 1 billion to 3 billion. Right, and that's how they have gone from 8 assets to 23 assets. Okay, nothing much to add. Alright, this is their sponsor, alright, Keppel. Alright, they plan to build some Data Park Plus, which is a data center campus which is modern and low carbon. Alright, and use seawater instead of potable water for cooling. Alright, so all these things are modernization of the data center. Right, so for Keppel DC REIT itself, it is looking to acquire through third-party acquisitions. Alright, and it's looking for accretive and good opportunities lah. Right, accretive and quality opportunities, which I guess every REIT says, right? So so its sponsor, the good news is its sponsor actually has REITs, right, and it's possible for the sponsor to offload its REITs to Keppel DC REIT. Okay, so however, if the deal is good or not, we'll have to see on a case by case basis. Right, let's look at the numbers for quickly. Right, revenue is up slightly, 1.4%. Right, NPI is down 3%. Distributable income is down 9.3%. DPU is down 8.1%. all these are mainly of higher interest costs from their loans. All right, so you can see yeah, there's a drop in DPU. All right, from sorry, there's a drop in the distribution yield percentage. All right, although I'm not sure that this is the most useful matrix to look at, right? I think if we look at this value, is probably easier to look at, right? So this is a 8.1% drop in DPU directly. All right, so this will be clearer, right? Weighted average all-in cost of interest, right? This is gone up 1.1%. All right, interest coverage ratio has gone down quite substantially at 2.9%, right? However, this is still, as we have discussed earlier, higher than most other, actually all the 6 REITs that we compared it to, right? Nothing much to say here, just that this one NAV is down 4.3%, right? So not so good. Yeah, DPU we've discussed before. All right, nothing much to say. All right, so I just want to say something about this REIT. Generally, if we look at the DPU from 2022 to 2023, all right, clearly there's a drop. But I believe that since inception, right, this is the first time the annual DPU has dropped, right? So actually, Keppel DC REIT historically is a very well performing REIT, which is why its DPU, right, is annual yield is actually something like 4.81% as reported earlier in 31st December 2023. Okay, the reason why the yield is so low is because every year their dividends have been going up until 2022. All right, 2023 is the first year their dividends have dropped, right? So the expectations for the performance of these REIT exists. All right, so that's why the yield in terms of percentage is low. Okay, so anyway, let's move on. Yeah, I think I will stop here. This will likely be a part 1 of this look into Keppel DC REIT. Right, I think in the next part I'll try and look at where the REITs centers are. All right, like that, and then we'll look more into overall what is going on in the cloud computing era. Right, so with that, thank you for your time.